You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Monday, 2nd day of June 2025. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. Now, the first live broadcast is a little different. That's our live training room. So that's private. Members only, or those taking their 1-week free trial. If you've not yet taken your 1-week free trial, go to mytradingiq.com. At the top of the page, there's a big purple button. You can't miss it. Click it, fill out the form, hit submit. There's no credit card required. We'll get your indicators up and indicating today. Your trial will officially start tomorrow. But don't worry, you'll still get 5 consecutive trading days. So this upcoming weekend, you'll still have 1 more day after that. Okay? Now, when you take the free trial, you're not just getting access to the live training room. What we do is we treat you just like a member with access to everything for 5 consecutive trading days, so that at the end of your trial, you can make a well-informed, intelligent decision as to whether or not trading is right for you. Now, when the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we take a 30-minute break and then come back for this broadcast, the afternoon broadcast, which is actually open to the public. That's everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways you can join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do this once. Go to mytradingiq.com, scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click that link, fill out that 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward, every trading day, you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. In that email, there's a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it will automatically log you into our platform. The benefit there is you'll immediately have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. I'm unable to monitor the YouTube stream until Michael joins us at the top of the hour. Now, there's going to be days when you're busy, can't join live, but you do want to get caught up later. And there'll be days when you're out of the office, away from your desktop, this time of year, maybe you're on vacation, but you still want to join live. Well, you can do both of those via our YouTube channel. It's easy to remember. youtube.com/ CFRN. Since 2005, that's the Christian Financial Radio Network. But you don't have to remember all that. Just youtube.com/CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 2,800 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. youtube.com/CFRN. So this is our schedule for each afternoon broadcast. So we're going to dive right into our daily devotional. And this will be the final day on this topic: biblical inheritance, or God's inheritance plan. Our scripture today, Deuteronomy 6, verses 6 through 9. I'll be sharing from the Message translation. Write these commandments that I've given you today on your hearts. Get them inside of you, and then get them inside your children. Talk about them wherever you are, sitting at home or walking in the street. Talk about them from the time you get up in the morning to when you fall into bed at night. Tie them on your hands and foreheads as a reminder. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your homes and on your city gates. I guess they had to tie them on their hands and foreheads. That was before they invented Post-it notes. Now, this was a 3-day devotional, and on day 1, we talked about the fact that God's inheritance plan is more than just money. On the second day, Friday, we talked about the 5 capitals, and that's capital with an A. And we wrap it up today, day 3, building your legacy today. The most powerful aspect of inheritance isn't what happens after we're gone. It's what happens while we're here. Moses didn't instruct parents to write down commandments and leave them in a vault for children to discover after their death. Instead, he called them to a daily, intentional transfer of values through ongoing relationship. This active inheritance building is what Paul described in 1 Timothy. The wealthy using their resources now to build a foundation for the future. The inheritance they're creating isn't just what will transfer upon death, but the fruit of a lifestyle of generosity and good deeds. So, how do we actively build our multi-generational legacy today? I've got 5 practical steps. Number 1, create a family mission statement. Work with your spouse and children, if appropriate, to articulate your family's core values, purpose, and defining characteristics. What do you want your family to be known for 3 generations from now? Number 2, invest in wisdom transfer. Establish regular times to share financial wisdom, spiritual insights, and life lessons. This might look like money management lessons for kids, regular faith discussions, or storytelling about God's faithfulness in your life. Number 3, document your faith journey. Create tangible records of God's work in your life through journals of answered prayers, letters to future generations, or even video testimonies of significant spiritual moments. This weekend, on my church blog, I wrote a post, a praise report of sorts, about this health issue that I've been going through for, I guess, 2.5 weeks now. I'm going to copy and paste it into the Breeze channel later today. I think if you take a moment to read it, reflect on your own life, I think it'll have great meaning for you. We'll see. Number 4, build relationships, not just resources. Recognize that your presence is more valuable than your presence. In other words, being actively engaged with your spouse and your children is more important. In other words, being present is more important than the presents you put under the tree at Christmas. Create traditions that strengthen family bonds. Invest time in mentoring the next generation. And prioritize experiences over acquisitions. Now, there's a tragic statistic in America today. The average father in America spends how much time actually talking to their children? You ready? 7 minutes. Now, that doesn't include when you're screaming and yelling at them. I'm talking about asking them how their day went, having meaningful dialogue, sharing with them maybe some of the things you overcame over the course of the day. And you'll be amazed at how your spouse and your children will begin to open up to you. And pretty soon those 7 minutes might turn into 70. Number 5, practice strategic generosity. Use your resources to create giving opportunities that involve multiple generations through family giving funds, legacy projects, or support for ministries that will outlive you. Many of you know that my wife and I, back in 2000, we built an orphanage in Kampala, Uganda, East Africa. 25 years ago. Some of you knew me back then. And I still have to pinch myself that 25 years later, it's still going and growing and thriving. And children with no one to call mom or dad actually have an education, a bed to sleep in at night, and people around them who tell them that they are loved on a daily basis. Not just loved by the teachers and counselors, but by their Heavenly Father. Now, God doesn't call everybody to build orphanages. God just dropped this in our lap. So be on the lookout for whatever it is that God is calling you to do that will outlive you. Jesus told a parable about a rich fool who built bigger barns to store his abundance, only to die before he could enjoy it. Luke 12:16. The tragedy wasn't that he built wealth. Building wealth is good stewardship. The tragedy was that he had no vision beyond himself. He failed to see his resources as an inheritance to bless others. Always remember, if you're looking for God to bless you in some area of your life, He will bless you so that you can be a blessing to someone else. Your legacy is being written today. With every decision you make, with every interaction. The question isn't whether you're leaving an inheritance, but what kind of inheritance you're creating with your daily choices. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Help us all to see today as an inheritance building opportunity. Guide us to make choices that will echo through generations. May our children and grandchildren inherit not just our money, but our faith, our wisdom, and our character. Help us to live in such a way that our life becomes a roadmap leading future generations to you. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, Amen. Amen, and happy Monday. It's time now for me to give you the numbers from around the world. We'll start, of course, here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Pull in some fresh data. Here we go. All right, the Dow is down 209 points. The NASDAQ is up 37. S&P 500 is down 7. The Russell 2000 is basically flatlined. Well, we'll talk more about that when we go to the charts. In the commodity basket, quite a different story. Crude oil up $2.05, trading 62.84 last. That's a gain of over 3.25%, or over $2,000 per contract traded. Gold, unbelievable, up $83.40, trading 33.72 last. That's a gain of over 2.5%. And hold on to your hat, man. Silver's up $1.59, trading 34.62 last. That's a gain of almost 5%, or over $7,500 per contract traded. Love that. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei dropped 494 points, a little over 1.25%. Shanghai dropped 15. The Hang Seng fell 131. And in the European markets at the close, the FTSE posted a gain of just shy of 2 points. The DAX fell 66. The CAC dropped 14. So we had a red day in Asia. We had a mixed day in the UK. And it is a mixed Radio Monday in the US of A. We got 3 of the major indices in the red. The only one in the green is the NASDAQ. Now, as futures traders, we like to see all 4 of those major indices the same color. We don't care if they're red or green, because as a futures trader, you can be long, short, long again, all in the same hour, if that's what the chart in front of you tells you to do. When they're all the same color, red or green, that's when you get better follow through on your trades. When they're mixed, sometimes the trades just, you're like 2 ticks away from your goal for the day, and then it stops and reverses. Yeah, that's okay. When you see that happening, take whatever profit you have, wait for the next opportunity. Remember, you don't have to get your goal for the day on the first trade. Some days that happens, and that's very nice, but there's no shame in it taking 2, 3, 4, even 5 or more trades to get your goal for the day. If it takes you 10 trades to get your goal for the day, you're still profitable after commissions. Hopefully that knowledge will take a little pressure off you. Okay? All right, news time. Iran's nuclear program. The Trump administration confirmed yesterday it sent Iran a nuclear deal proposal, the details of which were not publicly disclosed. The news comes after a UN watchdog report was leaked over the weekend, finding Iran had conducted secret uranium enrichment activities in 3 previously undisclosed facilities: Lavazan Shian, Veriman, and Turkesbad. The report also found Iran possesses 400 kilograms of uranium at 60% purity, significantly above levels for civilian purposes, and enough for 10 nuclear weapons if enriched to 90% purity. A step estimated to take less than 2 weeks. A bomb would then take months to build. The International Atomic Energy Agency, which has monitored Iran since the early 2000s, did not find evidence Iran's program has slowed since restarting negotiations with the U.S. in April. Instead, Iran's stockpile has amassed the equivalent of 1 nuclear weapon per month for the past 3 months. And Trump's not a happy camper. He said it again and again: Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And if it requires erasing them from the map because they won't listen to the rest of the world, we'll say a prayer for them. Now, an aerobic exercise regimen can lower death rates from colon cancer and reduce recurrent rates by roughly 1/3, according to a new study. The study is the first to show a causal relationship between cancer outcomes and exercise. Researchers tracked 889 colon cancer patients from 2009 to 2024 who had received chemotherapy. Roughly half were assigned readings on a healthy lifestyle, while the other half were assigned a personal coach. The coach met with patients every few weeks for 3 years, helping them establish and maintain an exercise regimen, including walking, biking, kayaking, skiing, swimming, or running. They aimed for the equivalent of at least 3 45 to 60-minute walks each week. 8 years on, the intervention group saw a 28% reduction in cancer recurrence and 37% fewer deaths. The study is the first randomized controlled trial of its kind and strengthens the case for an exercise intervention as the standard of care. That's a big deal, man. My little brother and my dad, well, they've gone home to be with Jesus via colon cancer. Neither one of them were the type to, take a walk or take a hike. I used to be. I've become lackadaisical. I think that article right there is going to change my daily routine. All right, let's go to Wall Street. An array of charges and countercharges over the weekend between the U.S. and China raised the stakes of a long-awaited call between leaders of the two countries as relations hit new turbulence over tariffs and other issues. President Trump and Chinese President Xi have significant issues to iron out, from critical minerals to semiconductors. They have led to increasingly hostile commentary from both sides, putting last month's agreement to lower tariffs for 90 days in a tenuous position. National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett even suggested Sunday on ABC that trade negotiations with other nations are being held up by the wait for this phone call between Trump and Xi. Xi, you can be erased as well. Okay, from Reuters, JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon, the modern day Willie Sutton. Willie, if you don't know, was the world's greatest bank robber, said on Monday that the rising U.S. national debt is a big deal that could create a tough time for the bond market that causes spreads to widen. He was on Mornings with Maria on Fox Business. I thought you were retiring, Jamie. Come on. Give somebody else a chance. Fast-growing chicken chain, Dave's Hot Chicken, is now owned by the same private equity firm behind Subway and Dunkin', as in Dunkin' Donuts. With Rourke Capital on Monday announcing a deal that values Dave's Hot Chicken at roughly $1 billion as it ramps up its global expansion plans. Currently, Dave's Hot Chicken, which I've never heard of, operates 310 locations, but it has sold rights to more than 1,000 franchise locations across the U.S., Middle East, and Canada. It plans to open more than 155 restaurant locations this year. That's like one every other day. I don't know how these guys do it. And from Bloomberg, gold surged on revived demand for safer assets as the U.S. and China traded accusations, while a dramatic series of attacks clouded the prospects of peace between Russia and Ukraine. Well, now we know why gold's up today. But what about crude? Bloomberg says oil surged after OPEC increased production less than some had feared, and geopolitical concerns flared in Ukraine and Iran. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies agreed on Saturday to add 411,000 barrels a day of supply in July, but some members objected, including Russia, with a handful of countries lobbying for a pause in July. Banks are now split on how many more hikes will come in subsequent months. So there you have it. Now we can go to the local news. Logic 247, our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. We're now in week 357. Last week, week 356. Last week we had a total of 60 alerts. 46 of them became actionable alerts. 3 of them got stopped out, which gave us 7%. Now, over the last 357 weeks, we have issued over 19,700 individual handcrafted alerts. And today or tomorrow, I think we're going to hit 19,800. Okay. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis over the last 357 weeks is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Now, this week, which began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern, that's when the Monday session starts for the global markets. At the time Valerie did this recap, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, this is where we stood, but I've issued additional alerts today. So she'll update it this afternoon as she does. But at the time she did the recap, since the markets opened last night, I had issued 16 alerts. We were still waiting on the outcome of 7. I think those may have resolved themselves now. That gave us 9 actionable alerts of which 1 or 11% would have been stopped out, again based on market structure and the simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Now the logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock, 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session, and vice versa. Every logic alert has an entry price, an initial target designed to help you get your goal for the day, and then typically additional targets, and then a final trade to target. Of course, you can trade them, but just remember the real reason for the logic alerts is to help you learn how to read a chart. No matter what field of endeavor you pursue, you've got to be able to read the textbooks or whatever that go along with that profession. Doctor, lawyer, banker, candlestick maker. But if you're choosing to be a trader as a profession, you got to learn to read the charts. Now the big difference is the charts don't have any words, sentences, paragraphs, or punctuation. It's a whole different language. And if you use the logic alerts properly, you too will learn to read a chart. Okay? Now, 357 weeks, that's a very long time. But many years before we ever had a Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts, and they're different. Different how? Well, number one, they don't come out around the clock. They're posted as a static report shortly before the Globex Open each evening at 6 p.m. Eastern. So as you can see, I was able to get the CTAs out last night 5 minutes before the market opened. What that means is all of our traders, all of our trial members had all of these targets: ES, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil, the NQ, gold, which we're now on the Q contract, and silver. They had all these targets 5 minutes before the market opened. So with that, let us go to the charts. Okay. And we'll start where we always do, with the bellwether, the S&P 500 E-mini futures. Okay. This is the daily chart. Now, blue and climbing is obviously bullish. Red and falling is obviously bearish. We've been pressed up against red and falling as resistance for 1, 2, 3, now 4 trading days. The green line is called the BBC. Stands for bull bear cross. When price crosses below the green line, we're bearish and expect lower prices. When price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and expect higher prices. Notice that when price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. It's called the BBC. When price pulls back to the BBC, like here, and here, and here, and here, or here and here, the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. But we know this: eventually it will trade through, like it did February 21st and like it did April 24th. So price is kind of trapped. You got resistance overhead, got support below. I think we have an inside day based on Friday. That means we haven't taken out Friday's high. We haven't taken out Friday's low. So Friday's low would be your first major support, then the BBC. Major resistance is at the step line, then red and falling, and then the high of May 29th. Now, institutional traders, the ones with deep pockets that actually move price, they look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. Why? Has everything to do with account size. So I encourage you, whether you trade futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs, doesn't matter because price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. I encourage you to spend 2 minutes with whatever you're about to trade on the smaller time frame. And number one, see what the deep pockets are up to. Because remember, they move price. And you're also able to identify major areas of support and resistance that you won't, in many cases, be able to see on that smaller time frame that you use to execute your trades. 2 minutes a day, do it for a month. I don't think you'll ever go back. Okay? Now, all alerts are created on the 30-minute chart. Nothing magic about 30 minutes. It's just the time frame I chose years ago. If it ain't broke, leave it alone. That's what they say. So, the vertical lines here separate today, Monday. Back here's Friday. Back here's Thursday. Now, these are last week's weekly trading zones. Why? Because the new trading zones come out Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. So any alerts I put out, logic or CTA, on Sunday night are based on the previous week's zones. Now, the logic alerts that I put out today, they're based on this week's zones. And on tomorrow's broadcast, you'll see this week's zones on my chart. Okay? So we had a gap lower open last night that put us below the BBC. And remember, when we're below the BBC, we expect lower prices. And with red and falling, it walked us right down to the short target. And last week's zone at 73.74 held as support. When price drops to a zone, we expect support till proven otherwise. When price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. Notice this pull back to the BBC held, sent us down to the zone where we found support. Support sends us looking for resistance, which sends us looking for support, which sends us looking for resistance. Now, you see this bearish cross? That's when the red line gets below the green line. When you have a bearish cross that leads to an extended move like this, the first time price revisits that area is almost always good resistance. It took 1, 2, 3, 4 30-minute candles to finally push the market through that area. And I posted charts and commentary in the discussion group this morning to try to help you with this. Okay? So we did spike up. We didn't take out that high, which is a sign of weakness, and see what happened. That was the 9:30 Wall Street opening candle. We hit the short target and we hit the zone again from last week. Support. Support's going to send us looking for resistance. And right now, we're in sort of a precarious position because the black step line is trying to cross blue and climbing. When that happens, we expect price to retrace back to the BBC. So we're trying to build a green candle here. But keep in mind, you've got potential resistance right here at 59.18, 59.20, 59.24, And then of course last week's zone, and then up here is the long target for today. So we hit the short target 1, 2, 3 times. And see the weakness coming in here? We're failing to take out this high, okay? So the step line, if we close red on this candle or consolidate sideways, that's going to drag the step line to the right side of blue and climbing, and that's when you should be looking for your retracement back to the BBC. Then it becomes a question of, is the pullback going to hold or not? It held here, it held here, held here, held here, and we got above it, but the pullback held. You go, no, wait, it spiked it. Yeah, it did spike it, but they're still touching it. See, we need it to not only get above or below it, but pull away from it. Okay. So we're just kind of sitting here. And as you can see, it's an inside day because this was the high of Friday and this was the low of Friday right here. Kind of means the institutions aren't too sure if they should be buying or selling or take the day off. And Jerome Powell is going to speak at 1 o'clock today. Now, BlackRock transferred a ton of BTC this morning to Bitcoin, to Coinbase Prime. Rumors are that Jerome Powell might today, at this 1 o'clock speech, do a full 1-point rate cut. And supposedly, if they do, BlackRock is going to sell that BTC and buy ETH, Ethereum. Now that's just rumors from the street. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but it is a fact that BlackRock did transfer. But they had the hugest inflow into their ETFs last week that I think we've ever seen in history. So just remember, 1 o'clock is going to be important. That'll be right about the time Michael comes on, that Jerome is going to start his speech. So the Dow, we had a gap lower open, putting us below the BBC, and then boop, we hit the short target and you got your goal for the day. Support sent us to resistance, pullback held. That sent us down to the zone. Held, sent us back to resistance, back to support, back to resistance at the previous bearish cross. Except the Dow never made it through. That resistance sent us back down to the zone, back up to the bottom side of the target. Now we're just kind of hanging. I got a feeling everybody's hanging to see what Jerome's going to say at 1 o'clock. The Russell, gap lower open last night. Buyers came in to try to save the day, but they couldn't even push us all the way back to the BBC. So we hit the short target and even traded below it. Now if you go look left, you'll figure out why the market found support there. Support sends us looking for resistance, so we trade through the BBC, but the pullback holds, and we hit the short target again. A leg and a retracement, a leg and a retracement, and then the zone was 2072.73 from last week. That was good resistance. This was the 9:30 opening candle. Sent us all the way back down here. Then we climbed the hill again, but this time we failed to make it all the way to last week's zone. We hit 71.6, so we missed it by 4 ticks. Now we're above the BBC. We have blue and climbing, but the last 30-minute candle was red, and it looks like we're about to see right here where the step line and blue and climbing come together. That's support times 2. If we dip below that, We're most likely headed back to the BBC, and then again it becomes a question of, does it hold this time or not? It holds more often than not, but eventually it does trade through. Held here, held here, held here, and then finally traded through. Held there. NQ. Gap lower open. We get below the BBC. Here comes red and falling. Takes us right down to the target. We spike the target. And this low here is this low from Friday. My friend, that is market structure. So that pullback held, and that pullback held, and then we finally traded through. Now we're on the north side of the BBC, and the pullback held. And then 9:30 Wall Street open, we run all the way up, spike the long target, and then retrace. And then we have another retracement to the BBC, but the pullback holds, and back we go to the long target again and again. Crude oil. This was the open last night. Now, I drew this window on Friday, this window of opportunity. So when the markets opened last night, they gapped halfway into the window and then filled the window, and we shot up almost to the zone at 62.35/40. Then we got a little retracement into blue and climbing. That pullback held, sent us up. But once blue and climbing gets directly above price, it can often become resistance because it's on its way to becoming red and falling, like we saw happen here on Thursday, okay, and like we saw happen here on Friday. But this zone held. Remember, when price drops to a zone, we expect support till proven otherwise. So we got a nice pop on that news that I shared with you earlier, putting in a high on the day of 63.38. Now we retrace back to the BBC. We've overcome red and falling. So the areas you should be expecting resistance are right here where blue turned to red. Okay, we'll call that 63.45, and then the high of the session. 63.88. I think I misquoted that earlier. So we hit the long target, but the short target price just never got below the BBC. So no need to even worry about it. Now on the weekly trading zones last night, and thanks to, oh gosh, I'm sorry for forgetting your name. I know it as well as my own. Anjum? Yeah. Alerted me this morning that while I had created the weekly trading zone numbers for the Q contract on gold, I fat fingered the actual symbol. I've since gone in and corrected it, but thank you, Anjum, for alerting me to that. And so this long window of opportunity that I drew on Friday, we filled it last night. We gapped higher on the open, filled the window, hit the long target, all in the first 30 minutes. Then we hit resistance at the zone. Resistance sent us looking for support. The pullback held, pullback held. And then we ran all the way to this zone, resistance, which sent us looking for support, which sent us back to resistance at the zone. So we backed up and made another run, and gold, which was up 89 bucks at one point today. High of the session, it looks like 34.04, $3,404. But now the step line, see the step line has crossed on the way up. It was on the left side of blue and climbing. But this consolidation has taken the step line to the right side of blue and climbing. So what do I expect? A retracement. back to the zone, back to the BBC. Then, as always, it becomes a question of does it hold or not? It holds more often than it doesn't. So, let's say this time it doesn't hold. Because after a move like this, you expect about a 50% retracement. My short would be 33.66 down to 33.63. That'd be $300 per contract traded. People tell me, I just don't get this market structure thing. I've tried to think of 1,000 different ways to explain it. I just hope maybe God, I've always told you that God will never intervene in your trading. Like you're in a position has gone against you and you're down on your knees praying, oh God, you know that my trading money, I just give it to charity, I give it to the church. God cannot intervene in your trading because there's other Christians who have the opposite position. So what's he supposed to do? I haven't told this story in a while. Two Christians walk out of a bar and go back to work. They have adjacent cubicles at the trading firm they work for. One looks at the S&P and decides to go long. The other one looks at the S&P and decides to go short. Now, who's God supposed to show favor to? The one that prays the most? The one that pays more of a percentage in tithes and offerings than the other? No, you can't put God in that position. Here's how God can help you with your trading. He can help you learn through the power of the Holy Spirit. The scales can literally fall from your eyes and you go, how did I never see that before? Now for me, I'm going to tell you, it didn't happen overnight. In fact, I wrestled with God on the mountaintop more than a few times over why he kept letting this happen to me. And what I just told you, except it wasn't in the form of a joke, Holy Spirit said, the scales fell from my eyes and I realized that God couldn't favor me over every other Christian in the marketplace. And so I was in the sanctuary at my church downtown and I was alone. And I was like, so I'm just wasting my time. And the Spirit said, no. If you allow him, God will help you learn. And even when you learn, you're still going to get sucked out. But just pray every time you sit down. And what happens, happens. But even a stop out, let it become a learning experience. Now, here's another thing. When you get stopped out, don't spend hours agonizing over how it happened, why it happened. It happened. That's why we have stop loss, so it doesn't destroy and blow up our account. Just go look for the next opportunity. Okay? All right. Now, did I say price would probably try to pull back to the BBC? Okay. I don't have crystal balls. I've just studied these charts long enough that I know the language and I can read them and I know what the next high probability move is. But hear me loud and clear. I do not know what's going to happen next in the market. Nobody does. No man, no machine, no AI bot. I'm sorry, it ain't possible. When God created Adam, he did not give him the ability to change the past or to know the future. And that hasn't changed. And it never will. Because that's God's plan. Okay? So even though I don't know what's going to happen next, I do know what the next high probability move is. And that's a retracement to the BBC. Okay? So let's say it does that exactly. Great. I still don't know if it's going to hold or not. Got to be patient and see. Now that the step line is crossed, blue and climbing is directly above that candle. So that means even if it were to bump up a little bit, resistance, potential resistance. And look at all these wicks sticking up. When you see a grouping on your 30-minute chart of these wicks sticking up in the air like this, that means the market's probably headed lower. Same thing when you see a bunch of wicks sticking down like that on the bottom, market's probably headed up. The market gives us so many clues as to what it's about to do next. Support, the resistance, overshot support, back to resistance. Same thing over and over again and again. So here's where we opened last night. Now, what you're looking at right here, from the open last night to this, $7,500 per contract traded. We gapped up right into the zone from last week. Now you only need 2 pennies to get your goal for the day. We opened at 33.13 and ran up to 33.22.5. So we call that 9 points. That one candle right there is worth $450 per contract traded. That one 30-minute candle. You didn't have to get all of it. Remember, it only takes 2 pennies. So we get to the zone, resistance. Only one of 3 things happens when price encounters a zone. 70% of the time it's consolidation. 20% of the time it's rejection. 10% of the time it's the slice. Now, here's an example of a slice. See how price sliced through that zone on the 30-minute chart like it's not even there? When it ran out of steam, it retraced to the zone it sliced through and then continued in the direction of the slice. Now, step line is crossing, but price is actually above blue and climbing. So is it possible this thing could keep running? Yeah, it's possible, but when you have a move of that magnitude, you're likely to get a 50% retracement. And that would be right where the BBC is. You see that? This is what fascinates me so much about the markets, the way these things come together. From the low, we had like a $7,000 run. And so now, I'm telling you, the step line's crossed, price will most likely retrace, and the 50% fib is lined right up with the 30-minute BBC. Man, it just don't get much prettier than that. And I think I hear Michael.
Yes,
so
I'm
he's
here.
going to bless us with a recap of what happened in the live training room. Then do some live trading on the TradingView platform. I'm sorry to everyone on YouTube. We lost our connection, but now it's back.
All
Mea
right.
culpa. Michael, let me get your chart centered up here on the big screen. And
Okay.
okay, 1 minute. Oh, there you go. Looks good.
All right. Let
So
me
you're
just send
ready
this.
to roll whenever you're ready.
All right. All right.
Okay. He ain't ready.
I'm ready. I'm right. Here I go. Okay,
All
so
right.
you can see my screens, right?
Yeah, beautiful.
You said that.
Yep.
Beautiful. All right, here we go. I am ready. Here it is. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, the 2nd day of June, 2025. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to, go here to mytradingaq.com, click on the purple button right here. There's no credit card required for the trial. Click on that purple button. It's going to bring you to this registration page. Right on this page, all that we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. Down at the bottom, Give us your TradingView login ID if you have it. All right, gives you TradingView login ID. Hit the register button. If you don't have one, click this right here and go get one. Okay. Hit the register button. When you hit register, you're going to be sent everything you need to get into the room in the morning. And we'll be able to get your indicators indicating as long as you give us that ID properly. All right. So here we are, the very first day of June. We're up $1,075 a contract this morning. It was a pretty good morning. We started out well. 3 minutes, one trade, got our goal. It's all good. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, I don't know if I said this already, you got to read the CFTC risk disclosures at the bottom. I have to say that every time. Today we're up 19 on the NQ, 41 on the Russell, 5 on gold, and 58 on the ES. That put us at 1,075 on the morning session. Today it took 3 minutes and one trade to get to the goal for the day. That one we're up $1,250. We took a total of 29 trades. So on the month now we're up $1,075. That's over one trading day. So we're averaging $1,075 per trading day. Now last month we ended up averaging 1,086 at the end of 19 trading days. So this is a good start. I think last month we had a slower start. We did 802.50 at the beginning of last month. So it's a better start than last month, and hopefully it'll continue throughout the month. I didn't fix this stuff down here, so these numbers aren't exactly right. That number is right. The number of hours we've worked, 11.88 hours, is right. But the total amount, let me just do this right. This is 13,550 if you quit when you got your goal for the day. Let me just check that. Last month, if you quit when you got your goal for the day, it would be that number divided by 10. So 2710 times 5. Let me just make sure that that's right. 2710 times 5 was 13,550. Okay, I just want to make sure I had the math right so I can make sure the math is right for this. It'd be this times 6. So it equals this times 6. All right. So if you were to quit trading when you got your goal for the day, so far this year, that makes that number way too high. The jump on that number is way too much. It's not. Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is. It's that number divided by 10 times 6. That's what it is. Sorry, figuring this all out right here. All right, that's better. All right, so if you were to quit trading when you got your goal for the day and you're going to add 1 contract per month, right now you'd be at 6 contracts. So it's this number divided by 10, which puts it down to $125 a contract times 6, which is the number of contracts you should have. So far this year, you've only worked 11.88 hours. You'd be up $46,272, and you'd be averaging $3,893 per hour on the year. Okay. If you were to just keep doing the trading like I did, so far with 1 contract, $8,167 over 92 business days, averaging $1,393. That's per day, per morning session anyway, for 2 hours in the morning session. Okay. I'm glad I got those right. So let's get into the actual trades now. Let's see, we had the most trades on the ES. So we'll just start out with gold. And we'll go through the trades we took on gold here. We started out, our first trade on gold was right here. We picked up 13 ticks on that. Then the next trade was right here. I should have had my stop at break even. That's why it looks like it does. I should have had my stop at break even on that. And yeah, I should have had my stop at break even on that because it went 9 ticks into profit, but I didn't, and it stopped me out. So I got minus 15 on that. That put me at minus 2. And then I got 16 on that, put me at plus 14. And then I stopped out on that. So that put me at minus 1. And then we had a break even. And this one here was an aggressive long trade that I took, and that got me to plus 5. I got 6 ticks, and that got me to plus 5. I made some mistakes this morning, and I made money on all the mistakes except for one. So it was an interesting morning for me because I kept making mistakes. I made 4 of them today. And I'll get into them if I remember to when I get to them. I think 2 of them were here on the Russell. where I went long here and I went long here below the YBR. Right, those are my first couple of trades on the Russell. The first one I picked up 17 ticks, and the next one I picked up 15 ticks. So I got 17 ticks on that one, 15 ticks on that one, going the wrong direction. And then I missed the trades going in the right direction. This would have been a good trade here, 100% retracement. You could have shorted that right there on 100% retracement. And this one right here, same thing, 100% retracement for the leg down. I missed both of those, and I got both of the ones going in the opposite direction. But anyway, we were at plus 32 at that point. Then we got 2 ticks here to get us to 34, and then 7 ticks here to get us to 41. And we got something else here that I didn't write down toward the end. I don't remember what that was. I could go look, I guess, and see what it was, but we did get something there too. And let's see. During the break, above the YBR, there was 100% retracement on this. You could have taken that for a long trade right in there that I didn't. And we had, it got pretty junky in here. I didn't do anything through that. I wanted to just a little more room to work with. It pulled back all the way back here. From right here, it wouldn't have been a bad trade. No, it would have gotten a break even for me if I had done it. It flipped around and it really didn't give a good trade in here. I guess he could have done this right here. That would have given me a break even too eventually. And then it flipped around again. This was a pretty good spot. Actually, it wasn't. It would have been looking for it to get down to here. That put in a higher swing. This was 100% retracement of that. Was enough to get the stop to break even. Flipped around again. Gave a couple more opportunities in there, but on the Russell, we ended up with 2 mistakes. We ended up with plus 41. It might have been the same or better had we not made those mistakes. The other 2 trades that we missed going the other direction were actually better than those 2 that we got going in the wrong direction. But either way, they all gave us profit. All right. This is the ES. Let me get to the ES last. All right. Let me do the NQ because we only had a few trades on the NQ, and the ES is where we had the majority of our trades. I wanted to point this out right now. Dwayne's probably already pointed this out, but we're right here at the high of the day, right near the high of the day on this candle. If this candle closes above red and falling or above the MA1, by the end of the day, that's going to be pretty bullish going into the end of the week. Okay. Now, I don't know what there is in news that is going to make it do that. I don't know. I have no idea what there is in news. This was our first trade on the NQ. It was just a straight stop out. It didn't make it 20 ticks into profit, and we stopped out minus 60 ticks. The next trade that we took was right here. We got 75 ticks on that. Yeah, we got 75 ticks on that. And the next trade we took was over here. And this was another one that I did wrong. It was, so we got to 15, then we got 4 ticks. Actually, that's a break even. We got a break even on that one. Somewhere in here, we had another trade. Oh, right here, we had another trade. We got 4 ticks on that to get us to 79. I'm sorry, to 19. Sorry, 19. And we had a break even on this one. This, again, was a mistake. I was looking at the pullback right here. You know, I always say, if I get a chance to enter on a 50% retracement aggressively where it goes into the oversold on the retracement, I'm going to do it. I did it again. I took a long trade below the YBR. So that was my 4th mistake of the day. It got pretty sideways after that. Right? Not a whole lot going on in there. Now let's go back to just 4 markets and we'll do the ES markets right now. Hang on. Let me see in here. Let me see who is in here today. Okay. Yes. Oh, this is the whole day on the ES right here. Almost. We had the very first trade was right here. We picked up 10 ticks on the first trade. That's where we got the goal for the day. Right. Then we had a break even. Then we picked up 4 there to get us to 14. Then we picked up 30 on that one to get us to 44. Then picked up 5 to get us to 49. Then 12 to get us to 61. Then break even. Then we stopped out from 61, went down to 51. Then I picked up 9 to get us to 60. Then somewhere in there we picked out right here. We picked up 9 to get us to 60, then 8 to get us to 68, and then we stopped out again, got us down to 58. Then we had 4 to get us to 62, then 4 more to get us to 66, and then 4 more to get us to 68. And then I have an orange one here, so I made a mistake on this one. I stopped out again. That brought us down to 58, and that was it. So 5 mistakes, I guess. What did I do wrong on this one? What did I do wrong on that? it's orange. So that means I did something wrong. I must have not managed my stop correctly. I think I had enough to get my stop to break even, and I didn't take it, and it came back and stopped me out. There was that one NQ trade that I took today. I'll go back and show you that again in a minute. That I really messed up on. Right, there were some more opportunities in here. We'll get back to that in just a couple of minutes. But the one NQ trade that I really messed up on was at the end. This one right here. I went long twice by accident. So I was long 20 contracts on that. And it was the up close right here that I went long on. And so it pulled all the way back down here and went back and forth and back and forth. Almost stopped me out. And eventually I got both of them off up here at the break even. I actually took profit on one, but I only counted it as a break even. One lot. There were 2 10 lots. And one of them executed a break even and the other one executed higher than break even. That was probably my biggest mistake of the day, my dumbest mistake. I don't know what happened to me today where I made so many mistakes all at once in one day, and easy mistakes too. Trading in the wrong direction. I don't know what happened. All right. So that said, let's start trading. All right. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingIQ.com, click on the purple button right here. There's no credit card required for the trial. Click on that purple button. It's going to bring you to this registration page. Just fill out the registration. All right. Once you fill it out, you will be sent everything you need to get into the room, and make sure you have a TradingView login ID, and we'll get your indicators indicating for you as well. All right. All right. So we're above the YBR, above the YBR, above everywhere, above the YBR. So we're looking for opportunities right now on the long side. Now, this pullback that we have right here is not a good place to enter. All right. It is not a good place to enter. Entering right here aggressively on the down close or the open of this green bar right here would have been a place to do that, but not on the up close. Right. Aggressively right here would have been the place to enter on that one. This is commodity oversold, and it's really gone nowhere. So far, it's actually looking like it's in a pretty good place too. Let me see. We might still be able to do that on the Russell. You see, it's right at the retracement level that it should be at. It hasn't gone anywhere if you did try to get into it, so you can still get into it right here. All right, I'm going to try to get into it right now. I haven't filled yet. Here it is. Now, if it goes 5 ticks into profit, if it gets up to 0.8 without filling me, I'm going to cancel it. Okay, we just filled. It's right here at the midpoint. It hasn't. The entry point should have been back here at the up close of this bar, and it hadn't gone 5 ticks into profit. All right, so that's what we're looking for right now. We're looking for it to get up to here. So the prior swing high is 71.3. It's in a little bit of chop right here, so this might be a little bit aggressive, but it's right there at the midpoint. So this should be a pretty good trade to take right here. Right, we should get 5 ticks out of this at a minimum. At a minimum, it should make it to the swing high of this bar, and probably up here to 9.8. 9.8 is all the way up here. Okay, unless it really drops right here, that's what it should do. We should be able to get it up to here right now. Okay. So if I drop this down here to 9.8, that's where I think it's going to go. We need it to get to 8.8 to bump the stop to break even, though. Okay. So let me slide this over here and do always on top. Okay. That's good. And so that's the one trade that we have going right now. Nothing else has a trade yet. Okay. All right, so over here right now on the NQ, it's about to stop us out over there, but on the NQ right now, it did stop us out. On the NQ, you're looking at from here to here for your pullback level. Okay. From there to there, we're in the oversold right now, so what we want to see is a down close on this bar and then a wick on the next bar that hits the midpoint and closes up. We ended up stopping out on that Russell trade. Okay, so now the Russell's flipped to YVR. So now Russell goes like this. We're in the oversold over here on the gold as well. So now the gold goes like this. Yes, we just need to stretch out like that. Okay. So this last one on the S didn't make it into the overbought, so this isn't a valid trade here on the S right now. It should do okay, but it's not a valid trade. Okay. The NQ came out of the oversold, but it's not really from a great spot here on the NQ. No, it doesn't look like that's going to end up turning into anything. The gold is coming off a good spot right here. If we could get an up close here on the gold, it's coming off 100% retracement. So 0.9 is what you're going to be buying on that. Okay. 0.9. This. Wait, it just gave the up close. I'm going to jump in right there. Okay. Why did I do that wrong? What was wrong with that? Oh, it went down an extra tick. Okay. Well, I'm in the gold right now. Put that window on top. Slide that over. Put that right there. Watch it over here. And the Russell flipped bearish. The NQ came out of the oversold, but not at a good spot. The ES came out of the oversold, but it had to do this right here, what it's doing right now, finishing the leg up. The last one. Okay. Commit to the upside. The gold needs to get up to 0.1, bump the stop to break even. Right. Does anybody have any questions about anything that's going on here right now? Anybody? All right, it's 1:17, so we have 13 minutes left this morning. 13 minutes left this morning. So Greg, that thing worked out for you this morning? That's good. It's the old password. That needs an update too. Cancel that and put a new one down there. There we go. I thought it just hit it. Did it just hit it? 0.1 is it went to 99.3, so yes, it did just hit it. I'm gonna throw the stop at break even on this. And we're gonna break even. I don't know why, but gold is seeming a little bit jumpy right here. Not sure why. All right. It was something I was just gonna do. Oh, I know what it was. I was gonna do this up. I get rid of that, then we don't have that extra. That. Just get rid of that again and add it on again. There. Then we only have one scale. I know Powell was supposed to speak at some point today, Michael, but I thought he already did. Okay, so this one needs to have the update. When you get the little purple thing like that, it means there's an update available. Okay. And if you click on this, it says check what's new. And what's new is the ability to match background color. So this down here, background color is what's new. I didn't even put all that in. Do that. Let's just do that. Okay. I got the wrong color. Guess I can just delete the whole thing. Put a fresh one down. There it is. All right. So now we're waiting. All right. And the YBR is flipped here on the Russell. And now this is changed to, well, this so far. Okay. Get rid of that one. And this over here on the gold. Well, it's done 100% retracement. We already took our break-even trade on that. So now we got to go from the bottom of here to wherever it goes up to. And over here on the NQ, it came out of the oversold right here. Not a good place to trade. Even if it goes back into the oversold, it's still not going to be a great market to trade right now. So let's go back out here for a minute and look at this. Look at this guy. This is what's happening right now. The black step line and the MA1 are right on top of each other. That's going to be a tough thing to get through. But if it does get through it, it should be a good thing. It should be a good run up if it does get through it. Okay. You don't have it right on top of each other like that very often. Like over here, it's on the other side though. Going down, you see the big move down once it got through it. And up here, where it got up above both of them at the same time. Anytime it does both of them at the same time, it's usually the beginning of a run in that direction. And we're at the position right now to get up above both of them at the same time right here. Bring that black step line above. It'll probably give us enough to get up to here. I don't know if it's going to be enough to get all the way up to here, but there's going to have to be some other kind of catalyst that's going to do that. And I don't know what we have for news this week. I didn't go and check everything we have for news. I just checked today's news. Go up here, we go to Econ calendar. We have auctions coming up. High impact news tomorrow. That's Euro has high impact news. We have Joel's job openings coming out tomorrow at 10 o'clock. That's high impact. Then Wednesday, ADP national employment coming out. Oh, it's the first week of the month. Yeah, we got big news this week. Thursday and Friday. We're going to have a lot of news this week. This is Wednesday with ADP national employment. And it's Bank of Canada. S&P Global Comp PMI. Then Thursday on the 5th, we have ECB refinancing. I don't know that it's Challenger layoffs. That's low impact, but we do have high impact stuff coming up on Thursday. Initial jobless. I know there should be more than that. Okay, well then Friday, we should have the unemployment rate coming out on Friday too. Right? Government payrolls, labor force, on-farm payrolls, that's a big one on Friday. Private payrolls is low impact. Unemployment rate, that's a big one. So we do have a lot of news coming out this week, right? And then we go on to Monday. Just reminded everyone, I'm going to be out on Friday and on Monday coming up. Okay. All right. So we moved from all the way up here to all the way here. So far, it didn't flip the YBR. So we're just waiting right now. is not a trade. Looking for long trades here, not short trades. And over here, we're looking for short trades, not long trades. Over here, we're looking for long trades, not short trades. On the gold, actually, we're at 100%. So if it were to close up right here on the gold, that would be not a horrible spot to trade, right? 97.9 up to 98.9 is what you'd be looking at over there. Okay. And the whole Powell speaking thing, was that on the calendar? I don't think that was scheduled, was it? No, there was nothing scheduled for that. Nah. 97.7 up to 98.7. 97.6 up to 98.6. As I say that, I'm moving it here on my DOM. See, now it's not going to be a trade, so I'm going to cancel it on my DOM. As I say that. Okay, so now what we'd be looking for on the gold is a pullback up to about right here. Short off of that. All right, we flipped the YBR over here on the ES too. And we haven't gotten anything there. All right. Nothing there. Nothing anywhere right now. So does anybody have any questions about anything? Anyone? Questions about anything? Oh, I forgot this side on my thing. Written dots everywhere by accident. Oops, I didn't mean to do that either. All right. Well, I guess we're just about out of time anyway. We have 30 seconds left, so I'll go through this. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button right here. There's no credit card required for the trial. Just click on that purple button. It's going to bring you to this registration page. Just fill it out. When you fill out this page, you'll be sent everything you need to get into the room in the morning. Down here at the bottom, make sure you give us a TradingView login ID. If you don't have one, click on this link right here to get one. Okay, make sure you do that. All right. Yeah, that's all that. We ended the day with 1,075 per contract on the morning session. Guys have going $1,250 with 10 contracts on. And that's it, guys. With that, I guess I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne is ready.
I am. Okie dokie. recap of the morning session. I said recap of the morning session.
Just come in here and see.
Michael, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah, see, they don't have Powell speaking in here anymore either. ISM manufacturing. Do they? Oh, yeah, here he is right here. So where is he speaking today? To deliver opening remarks at the Federal Reserve Board of Governors International Finance Division's 75th Anniversary Conference in Washington, D.C. That's where he's speaking today.
So all those rumors may have been for naught. So that's why I told everybody that they were rumors till proven otherwise. So, Okay, recap of the morning session.
Today it took 3 minutes and 1 trade to get to $1,250 with 10 contracts on.
Great job.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, we have finished all the individual markets. If you tuned in
I
late,
still have the screens, I think. Oh, now we're doing Dwayne's screen. We got a big black screen on your side.
Whoa, I don't know why. I did everything right.
Here, let me take it back, and then I'll give it back to you.
All right.
Make me the presenter, and we'll show that one.
Okay, we'll try it again.
Right, take it back. Let's head it back out there, and there you go.
My end, it says it's showing. Now it's showing? Okay.
Yep, it is. Yep, it's all good now.
Okay, guys, if you missed all the individual market recaps I did, about 30 minutes to an hour after I end this broadcast, you can go to youtube.com/CFRN, watch it in its entirety. Now, the market is trying hard to break above red and falling, okay? Remember, we poked above it last Thursday, but look where we closed, back below it. So this is a big battle going on here, and we'll see how it ends up. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Now, for those of you who are ready to become a member, go to mytradingiq.com. Watch the videos, read the content, and when you're ready, send an email to support@cfrn.net and tell us, hey, I want to be a member. We'll send you an email that explains everything it means to become a passport holder. There'll even be a link you can click that will allow you to seal the deal. At that point, Valerie will spring into action and send you all the things you need. But let me tell you, the big thing, you're going to get 2 hours of live training, interactive training, every trading day. Real trades in live markets with real money, with an explanation of every trade taken and the outcome, whether it's profitable, a stop out. We sweep nothing under the carpet. 9 out of 10 new traders fail simply because they don't have a teacher. That's a gaping hole in the financial industry, and we've plugged it for a lot of years. Now, along with 2 hours of live group training every trading day, you have access to private one-on-one mentoring, strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder. They're fluid across all markets and all time frames. Futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs, it doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. As a passport holder, you'll get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. You get the concierge trade alerts every evening the second they're published, typically 5 minutes ahead of the open at 6 p.m. Eastern. On Monday mornings at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you'll get the weekly trading zones, which we've published now for almost 15 and a half years every week for our members and trial members. You'll be able to attend the members only workshop every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. And you'll get the golden key that opens all the private channels in Telegram. One of those is actually the members only weekly workshop channel. You see, every Thursday night at the end of the workshop, we take that recording and put it in that private channel. So when you become a passport holder, you'll have access to all the private channels. So there's like hundreds of weekly workshops in that channel. No, you don't need to watch them all, but you can scroll through, look at the captions below each one, and if something piques your interest, you can watch it, okay? But again, you'll have access to it. When you're on the trial, you have access to the public channels, but once you become a passport holder, you'll have access to everything. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof, one low price. Let's wrap it up with our good word for the day. And well, I hate it when this happens. Come on. There may be no good word today. There it comes. Today, use your God-given power. Acts 1:8. You shall receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you. You say, if Christ lives in me, why do I still think and act the way I do? A Christian leader explains. The answer is illustrated in a story about a lady who had a small house at the turn of the century. She was quite wealthy, but also quite frugal. People were surprised then when she decided to be among the first to have electricity in her home. Several weeks after the installation, a meter reader appeared at her door. He asked her if her electricity was working well, and she assured him it was. I'm wondering if you can explain something to me, he said. Your meter shows scarcely any usage. Are you using your power? Certainly, she said. Each evening when the sun sets, I turn my lights on just long enough to light my candles, and then I turn them off. She's tapped into the power, but she wasn't using it. Her house is connected, but not altered. Don't we sometimes make the same mistake? We too, with our souls saved, but our hearts unchanged. We're connected, but not altered. Trusting Christ for salvation, but resisting transformation. We occasionally flip the switch, but most of the time we settle for shadows. What would happen if we left the light on? What changes would occur if we set about the task of dwelling in the radiance of Christ? No doubt about it, God has ambitious plans for us. The same one who saved your soul longs to remake your heart. His plan is nothing short of a total transformation. Romans 8:29, for those he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son. So friends, today let me encourage you. Use your God-given power. And that's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with his mercy and with his grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.